For this card, I've used a number of different products from the show today. So I've used the bigger fern leaf here from the Leaves and Ferns. I've also used the tiny flowers from here. I've used the All Seasons oval wreath, and I've used this paper pack again, the Country Blooms, and I'm using the lilac paper in there. So let's pop these to the side. Everything I've cut out, die cut already. So first of all, my card base. So I took an ordinary white card base and I placed my oval Seasons wreath over the top. So if I just show you like this. So I just placed it onto my card with the right hand edge just overhanging. I opened my card up and then I die cut into that. So when that's die cut, that looks something like this. You do have some pieces that come out of here. You can keep those or you can discard them. I then did exactly the same with my backing paper. So I chose a backing paper from the Country Bloom set. That's this one, and I cut it in exactly the same way so that it would fit. This time I kept the inner part of that wreath. So the actual wreath bit, the bit that would stay in the die, I've discarded that, or I've actually kept it for another project, but I've just kept the excess instead because I think it makes a nice bit of detail for my card. Now, rather than having that completely open, I'm going to put some acetate on the reverse of this card before I stick those down. So I've got a piece of acetate here that I've cut to the same size as my card base, and I've got some double-sided tape here. So I'm just going to use double-sided tape. It's much quicker than using a glue. If you want to recut another card base front and stick this over the opposite side of the acetate to hide all the glue, of course you can do that. I won't for this demonstration because that will take a little while to do. Now with acetate and double-sided tape, once this is down, it's not very easily coming back up again. So just be careful when you're lining up to ensure that everything's straight and pressed down. So you can see you've got your glue there, your tape, but you can easily recut another panel the same to cover that over if you wanted to. So as you can see actually there, this pattern paper from the paper packs that we've got on today, absolutely beautiful, both sides, really hard to choose, but you do get 2 designs of each in the pack, so you don't really have to choose, you can just use one each time. So what I'm going to do now is that's going to sit on the white cardstock, and this is going to go onto the acetate. So again, I'm going to use a tape, a double-sided tape to stick that to the acetate, and then a foam tape to stick this layer on instead. So now that that's glued down, that's my card base with that little peek through, which is really pretty. And I love with these papers that you've got that design in there. Looks like you've done lots of work already, fussy cutting and snipping and gluing things on, but actually that's just one lovely layer that can easily go in the post in an envelope quite flat. But we are going to build up some dimension now, and I'm going to use this larger fern here, as I said, and I've cut it from green cardstock. So that's going to lay across the top there. And I'm not actually going to be creating a fern with this. I'm going to be creating a bunch of flowers or a stem of beautiful flowers, but smaller ones. So I'm going to bring in my tiny flowers and leaves here. So what I need to do is cut lots of these flowers. The beauty of these is that they're all in one die. So one pass and all 12 of these little flowers are cut for you. And in fact, the die is so good, you can go through 2 or 3 layers of cardstock or paper at a time. So I've got a panel here. Now I again used my Country Blooms, one of these purple pieces of paper. So if we have a look here, you can see the design that's on beautiful flowers. Gorgeous distressing in the background as well. But once you cut your flowers from that, you've then got, I'll just show you, you've got all of these different shades and patterns on the actual flowers. So these will all need to be used with the blue side up. but I'll do that. So the next stage is to glue down my fern leaf where I want it to be. Now I'm going to bear in mind that I want to have a sentiment, so that needs to be quite far over to the right. And I'm just going to glue that down all the way along the middle, so a little bit of wet glue. I don't need any dimension here because I'm going to put lots in the petals. So this card's going to take me a little while to put together, but it's very much going to be worth it. So pop that overlapping there like so. Beautiful. So this is now a base for me, and what I can start doing now is taking my flowers, and if you want to you can shape them. So I just use something small like the handle of my pokey tool. It could even be anything that you can roll with really, and give a little bit of shape to those flowers. And I'm going to start sticking those flowers down over the top of my fern, building them up. So I'm going to use these larger ones at the base. Oh, sticking to my finger there with some glue. As I get up to the top, I'm going to start using the smaller ones, lifting those petals up at the top here. So that's going to take me a little while, so I will start gluing those down and I'll come back when I've finished. As I'm working my way through these flowers, I'm actually overlapping and tucking in to the other ones, so I'm not putting everything in a perfect order. I'm actually trying to make sure they're quite random and tucked behind some, and every time I stick the centre down, just applying glue to the centre, I'm lifting those petals up again to give it some more shape. There, so I've just about finished putting all of my little flowers on there. That took a little while, but as you can see, it is absolutely worth it for a beautiful stem of flowers, tiny little blue flowers there with all that dimension in. Now I'm just going to finish this card off by taking again from the paper pack. If we have a look here, throughout the papers we've actually got some sentiments here, sentiment pieces that we can use. They are beautiful. Now I've just cut one out here and I've roughed up the edges with a pair of scissors. So if you simply open the scissors and scratch along the edge like so, you can rough that paper up, and that helps to give it a bit of a distressed look because the paper is printed so it looks distressed, a little bit worn. And then this will sit beautifully just here with some foam tape to finish that off. So I'll just add that, and I'm only going to add the foam tape into the centre, and this way we can still roll and lift up all of those edges that we've just distressed. So just tucking that under the flowers, putting a little bit of an angle on it as well, and maybe just roll these corners over a little bit. There we go. So there's a beautiful card made using those larger stems, the larger ferns and leaves, the tiny flowers, and of course those beautiful papers too.